In the heart of the African savannah, where the morning sun paints the grasslands gold, one man's ordinary day was about to become an extraordinary journey of survival. Mark Thompson, a 35-year-old wildlife cinematographer, was heading back to camp after an early morning shoot. Just another day capturing the beauty of the wild. But then, everything changed. There, standing just 2 meters from his bumper, was something he'd never seen before. A small albino lion cub, alone, crying desperately. Mark tried to shoo the cub away, waving his arms, but the cub ran closer. It stood on its hind legs, placed its tiny paws on Mark's knee, and cried even louder. In those small eyes, Mark saw something unmistakable: fear, urgency, and a plea for help. Lion cubs this young never travel alone. There should be a mother nearby. But this cub was alone, in the middle of a road, begging a human for help. Mark nodded. A simple gesture that meant "I'll help you." And somehow, the cub understood. It started running, then stopped and looked back. The message was clear: follow me. Mark grabbed his gear. His 10 years of experience told him this wouldn't be simple. But he was committed now. They pushed through waist-high golden grass, passing between scattered acacia trees. The hot sun beat down relentlessly. 30 minutes passed, but then the cub began to slow. It circled the same rock twice, 3 times. Its small nose pressed to the ground, sniffing desperately. And then it stopped. The cub was lost too. But Mark's experience didn't fail him. There, in the dust, were faint paw prints. An adult lioness, heading north. Mark began walking ahead. The cub trusted his footsteps and followed. They had become true companions. After an hour of walking, a massive river appeared ahead, swollen from monsoon rains, rapids swirling violently. And there, sliding through the dark water, crocodiles. Going around would take days. But the paw prints continued across, and Mark had a terrible premonition. The mother was dying. There was no choice. He soaked his emergency rations in water, rubbed them on his t-shirt, then wrapped stones inside to create weight. 1 throw. That's all he had. The crocodiles reacted immediately, cutting through the current toward the meat scent. Now, cold water rose to his waist, then his chest. The current was crushing. His legs wobbled. 1 slip, and they'd both be swept away. 10 seconds. 11. 12. It felt like eternity. Finally, the opposite bank. But there was no time to rest. Another hour passed. The cub's legs began to tremble. And then it collapsed. Dehydrated. Exhausted. The journey was too harsh for such a young life. Mark had water, but no food. He'd used it all to lure the crocodiles. For a moment, he considered hunting nearby impalas. No. In 10 years, he'd never harmed a single life. That was his principle. But then, he looked up. Dozens of vultures circling in one spot. In the wild, that means one thing: death. But death for one could mean life for another. Mark fired a flare. The vultures exploded into the sky in a wave of black wings. The cub ate. Slowly at first, then with more strength. Life returned to its eyes. But the savannah wasn't done testing them yet. A dozen rhinoceroses appeared ahead. The leader caught the scent of lion. It began stomping the ground. A warning. The others lined up in formation. 2 tons of muscle and horn, preparing to charge. Mark couldn't run. Not while carrying the cub. The earth shook. They charged. 5 meters. 4. 3. And then, something miraculous happened. A baby rhinoceros leaped in front of the charging adults. The leader stopped. They all stopped. The baby wouldn't move. As if saying, "Don't harm this baby lion who's alone without its mother." Mark didn't waste the moment. He ran for the rocks. One small life had protected another. Finally, Mark reached the end of the tracks. Near thorn bushes, a deep pit, a poacher's trap. The cub ran to the edge and cried mournfully. At the bottom lay an albino lioness, barely moving, dying of dehydration. Mark radioed for help. 40 minutes until rescue arrived. He descended into the pit and gave the mother water. Drop by drop, the mother's tongue lapped weakly. Then, movement in the corner. A scorpion. Stinger raised. Lethal venom. Crawling toward the mother's paw. Mark moved fast. 2 steps. 1 strike. The scorpion convulsed and died. The mother looked at Mark with relieved eyes. It was over. Or so he thought. A scream from above. Sharp. Terrified. 6 hyenas had arrived. They'd come following the smell of death. And the small white cub stood bravely in front of them, first standing on end. Mark climbed frantically. His arms screamed in pain. 30 seconds of pure desperation. He reached the top. 6 hyenas. 15 meters away. Circling. In his rush, he'd left his axe below. All he had was 2 flare rounds and a field shovel. He fired. The flare exploded at their feet. They backed away, but then approached again. They'd realized it was harmless. They sniffed it, looked at each other, and laughed. Mark remembered something crucial. When the alpha falls, the pack runs. He identified the leader, a large-bodied hyena giving commands. Last shot. He aimed for the face and fired. Direct hit. The hyena fell. Mark charged with his shovel and struck hard. The alpha was down. But something was wrong. The pack wasn't running. A different hyena stepped forward. Deep scar across its face. It howled to the sky. The others responded in unison. There had been 2 alphas all along. The true pack leader charged. Mark backed away, hiding the cub behind him. There was nothing left. No weapons. No tricks. This was the end. But then, the cub ran forward. This tiny creature, placing itself between Mark and death. It clamped its teeth onto the hyena's nose. The pack leader screamed. The hyena shook frantically, but the cub wouldn't let go. Small, but still a predator. The hyena slammed the cub to the hard ground. Its small white body covered in red dust. Trembling, whimpering. Mark ran without thinking. He picked up the small, broken body, its heart beating rapidly against his chest. The hyenas closed in. 5 meters. 4. 3. Mark whispered, "I'm sorry, and thank you." He closed his eyes. And then, sirens. Headlights. 2 jeeps exploding over the hill in clouds of red dust. The pack leader glared at the jeeps, bared its teeth one last time at Mark, and then they turned and disappeared into the night. Mark's knees gave out. His entire body shook uncontrollably, still holding the cub. Still protecting it, the rescue team worked quickly. They pulled the mother from the pit, administered anesthesia, connected IVs. Both mother and cub would survive, but they needed time. 2 months passed. Every week, Mark visited. Every week, the cub ran to greet him, and the mother remembered him too. Their health fully recovered, and soon it was time. Release day arrived. The same open grasslands where it all began. Mark opened the cage himself. The mother emerged first. She stretched her entire body under the sun. Freedom felt after so long. The cub burst out behind her, running excitedly through the golden grass. And then the mother did something extraordinary. She approached Mark and pressed her forehead to his chest. The greatest expression of respect and gratitude a lion can show. Mark stroked her mane gently. No words needed. The cub ran over and stood on its hind legs, just like the first time they met. Mark knelt down and stroked that small head one last time. Mother and cub walked across the golden grasslands. They passed between acacia trees and headed toward the hills. The cub looked back, once, twice, 3 times, making sure Mark was still there. And finally, they disappeared beyond the hills, back to the wild where they belonged. Mark stood there for a long time, watching where they'd gone. A corner of his heart felt empty. But he knew this was the best choice, because some bonds don't need to be seen to remain unbroken. Some rescues don't end with keeping what you've saved. They end with letting it go. If this story moved you, please share it. And remember, every life in the wild matters. Thank you for watching.